Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders find themselves at a crossroads that could define the franchise's future, all centered around the health and play of second-year quarterback Jayden Daniels. The debate over whether Daniels should step back and prioritize recovery or push forward despite his injuries has reached a fever pitch following his less than stellar return in a 31-0 defeat against the Minnesota Vikings. That game, which seemed destined to offer clarity, instead left more questions than answers as Daniels chased a fourth-down interception, suffered an aggravation to his left elbow, and limped back to the sideline. Some observers argued that he should have been sidelined long before that moment, but the narrative around Daniels' readiness and durability remains murky, reigniting a divisive discussion about whether the Commanders should risk their long-term stability by rushing him back onto the field for the remaining games of the season. The controversy is not merely about wins and losses, but about the calculus of managing a young quarterback whose potential is immense yet fragile, whose career trajectory could be altered in an instant by a single misstep, and whose team must weigh the immediate needs of competition against the long-term consequences for the franchise. Head coach Dan Quinn's recent comments have done little to settle the debate, even as he confirmed that Daniels will miss the upcoming game against the New York Giants due to the elbow issue. While some interpret this decision as a tacit admission that Daniels' season may be over, Quinn himself cautions against jumping to conclusions. "I recognize the question," he said, in a statement that balanced reassurance with strategic ambiguity. "It's an easy one to go, and we haven't really gone down that road yet to decide." The head coach emphasized that the quarterback will continue limited practice sessions as the team evaluates his condition, making clear that no final call has been made. This measured approach signals both a commitment to Daniels' development and a willingness to keep options open, reflecting the complexity of managing a key player whose presence on the field carries weight far beyond the scoreboard. It is a situation fraught with tension, as the Commanders must simultaneously respect medical guidance, protect a young talent, and navigate the inherent pressures of professional football where each game and each snap matters exponentially. Quinn's philosophy on quarterback development is rooted in experience and exposure, a perspective that underscores why Daniels' potential return remains plausible, with only 3 games remaining in the regular season after the Giants matchup. Quinn stresses the importance of playing time for a quarterback still in the formative stages of his professional career. "We were probably talking about 30% of the season to go, and to gain experience, and at quarterback, the reps, are significant because there's just so many things that happen on a play. What's the check? What's the look? It's different than maybe a technique at another spot," Quinn explained. This emphasis on the intricacies of quarterback play highlights the unique nature of the position, where decisions are split-second, reads are dynamic, and understanding the full spectrum of game flow is essential. The implication is clear. While Daniels' health is paramount, the value of in-game learning, even in a season that has not unfolded ideally, cannot be dismissed lightly. The balance between caution and opportunity is delicate, and the Commanders' approach reflects the tension inherent in developing a franchise quarterback under less than ideal circumstances. Quinn also addressed concerns that Washington might be recklessly endangering Daniels, stressing that while the quarterback's medical readiness is the baseline for any decision, fear will not dictate team actions. "I can promise you that," he said. "But we're going to do everything, and all the time, like great decisions for him, for the team and where we're at," he added. "We're not going to live our whole life scared." This sentiment, both philosophical and practical, captures the dual realities of professional football. Players inherently face risk every time they step onto the field, and teams must weigh those risks against the potential rewards of competitive engagement and skill development. Critics argue that sitting Daniels, given his injury history this season, is not about fear but prudence, recognizing that the remaining games hold limited strategic value compared to the long-term health and effectiveness of a franchise quarterback. Yet the competitive nature of athletes, combined with their desire to play and contribute, complicates any straightforward solution. Daniels' determination to compete underscores the tension between caution and the inherent drive of elite performers to be on the field, no matter the personal risk involved. Meanwhile, veteran quarterback Marcus Mariota has been tasked with stepping in once again as the starter for the Week 15 contest against the Giants, offering both stability and perspective. So just like most players, you talk to him on a Sunday and then again what Monday feels like. And not quite the same of swelling or strength and those things to go into it, Quinn said. Explaining the day-to-day monitoring of Daniel's condition, Mariota, reflecting on the opportunity presented by this situation, noted, "I know he is doing everything in his power to do that, and then for us, it's just a great opportunity to go play football and I'm looking forward to it. And making sure our guys are ready, he's very much engaged, very much trying to help where he can. And I think that's great for him." Mariota's remarks highlight the collaborative nature of team sports, where even sideline players contribute to the preparation and mindset of those on the field. Daniel's engagement, despite his physical limitations, demonstrates a professional maturity and commitment to the team that extends beyond personal statistics or immediate playing time. It is a lesson in leadership by presence, an acknowledgement that influence can be exerted without necessarily being the focal point of every game. There is also an element of personal growth and resilience embedded in Daniel's current experiences, a factor Mariota underscores as essential for long-term career development. "I think for him to be able to go through some of this, to go through this adversity, it's really going to set himself up for his future in his career," Mariota said. The crucible of injury, rehabilitation, and limited playing time can forge not only technical skills, but also mental toughness, adaptability, and a deeper understanding of the quarterback's role within a complex offensive system. While fans and analysts debate the immediate implications of Daniel's situation, the intangible benefits of navigating adversity are significant, shaping his leadership, decision-making, and capacity to handle high-pressure moments in future seasons. The Commanders' approach, balancing medical caution with developmental opportunities, aims to cultivate these attributes while keeping the possibility of on-field contributions alive, preserving both player health and organizational potential. Despite missing Sunday's game, Daniel's season is far from definitively over. Head coach Quinn left the door open for the quarterback to play in upcoming matchups, including the following Saturday, Christmas Day against the Dallas Cowboys, or even in Week 18 when the Commanders close out the regular season on the road against the Philadelphia Eagles. If there was a chance to improve over these next games ahead, we were going to go after that as hard as we could, knowing that it would pay dividends in the future, Quinn stated. This perspective illustrates a strategic approach that prioritizes both development and prudence, signaling to the league and to fans that Daniels remains a central piece of Washington's long-term plans. The season may have presented setbacks, injuries, and a harsh spotlight on Daniels' durability, yet the organization appears committed to leveraging the remaining opportunities to enhance his experience, refine his skills, and prepare him for a future in which he can lead the franchise effectively. The risk of further injury exists, but so too does the potential for significant growth and the eventual realization of Daniels' promise as a cornerstone of the Commanders' future as the Commanders navigate this precarious juncture. The broader implications of their decisions extend beyond a single season. The management of Daniels reflects an intricate balancing act between competitive integrity, player health, and organizational foresight, a challenge that every NFL team faces when investing in young talent. Each choice whether to play him, sit him, or gradually reintroduce him carries consequences for team chemistry, fan perception, and the quarterback's professional trajectory. The ongoing debate over Daniels' readiness, informed by medical evaluations, coaching philosophy, and player input, underscores the complexity of leadership within professional sports. For now, Washington remains in a state of careful calculation, weighing the immediate demands of remaining games against the long-term vision of cultivating a franchise quarterback capable of sustaining success. Daniels' situation is emblematic of the modern NFL, a high-stakes environment where talent, risk, and strategy converge, and where decisions today echo in the fortunes of tomorrow. The season continues to unfold with uncertainty, yet the Commanders' commitment to both caution and opportunity offers a nuanced approach to the challenges they face by maintaining an open dialogue, monitoring Daniels' condition closely, and balancing competitive instincts with long-term planning. The team demonstrates an understanding that the quarterback position is both fragile and transformative. Jayden Daniels' journey through injury, recovery, and eventual return will be closely watched, not only for the outcomes of the remaining games, but for the blueprint it offers on managing young talent under pressure. In this moment of decision-making, Washington's choices will reveal much about the organization's priorities, its leadership philosophy, and its willingness to embrace calculated risks in pursuit of future success. As fans watch and debate, the underlying narrative remains one of potential resilience and the ever-present question of how far a team is willing to go to nurture the quarterback who may define its next era. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Rumors are swirling like wildfire around the Washington Commanders facility, and the kind of noise coming out of there is the type that makes every insider raise an eyebrow and every fan cling to the edge of their seat. Word on the street is that head coach Dan Quinn, usually known for his calm, composed, almost teacher-like demeanor, absolutely lost his patience with one of his own players in a moment that insiders are calling one of the most explosive outbursts they have ever seen from him. We are talking about a guy who has been praised for steady leadership, for that cool tone even during tense moments, for being the pillar of emotional stability on the sideline. So for someone as controlled as Quinn to reportedly slam the door, raise his voice, and utter the now infamous line, "He does not play for me anymore," well, that is the kind of thing that does not just leak. It detonates. People inside the building are whispering that the tension had been building for quite some time. Some say it started in a team meeting where effort was questioned. Others mention disagreements about assignments during practice, and a few even talk about a growing sense of frustration between the coaching staff and this particular player over accountability issues. Nobody is going on record, of course. This is all the usual behind-the-scenes murmur. The hushed conversations between staff members walking to their cars. The low-volume phone calls from assistants to friends in the media who promise not to reveal their names. But when enough separate voices tell the same story, that is when the smoke starts turning into a full-blown signal. The dramatic moment reportedly happened inside one of the team meeting rooms. The kind with bright lights, a massive screen, and those chairs that somehow managed to be both stiff and squeaky at the same time. According to the whispers making the rounds, Dan Quinn had been reviewing film with the unit when he paused the tape and turned to the player. Whatever he said first, nobody seems to agree on. But they all insist the conversation started calm, like a teacher trying to guide a student back on track. Then, little by little, the temperature rose. One person said Quinn leaned forward with his hands on the table, voice sharp but still controlled. Another said the player fired back, muttering something under his breath that absolutely set the coach off. That is the moment everyone agrees on. Something snapped, the chair moved, the projector paused. Every eye in that room locked on the two men, and over the silence, Quinn's voice rang out, "He does not play for me anymore," and just like that, the room reportedly went still, not silent, still, as if the air itself stopped moving. Players apparently did not know whether to look at Quinn, look at the player, or look at the floor. Some say the player stood up slowly and walked out without another word. Others say he stayed seated, stunned, staring at the table while Quinn stormed out, depending on who you ask. The details shift like sand. But the core of the story is the same. The head coach's patience was gone, and his message was as unambiguous as it gets, of course. Moments like this do not stay contained inside four walls for long. Football teams are like small towns. Nothing stays secret. A trainer hears something from an assistant. A practice squad guy overhears a coach on the phone. A front office employee catches part of a conversation in the hallway, and gradually, the rumor snowballs until it lands right in front of the cameras. That is exactly what seems to be happening here. Everyone is talking about it, yet nobody is pretending to know every detail. And that is what makes it so fascinating. This is not a polished press conference statement. This is raw, messy, emotional locker room reality bubbling to the surface. The biggest question now is what this means moving forward. If Dan Quinn truly said those words, and insiders are swearing up and down that he did, then we might be looking at one of those rare coach-player splits that cannot be patched back together. Coaches do not make declarations like that lightly. They do not speak in absolutes unless they are pushed to the breaking point. So what pushed him there? Was it an effort issue? Was it a personal comment? Was it a disagreement about role or responsibility? Different whispers point in different directions, with some saying it was a pattern of behavior and others suggesting it was a single moment that crossed a line. But whatever it was, it clearly struck a nerve. People close to Quinn describe him as a relationship-first coach, someone who believes in building trust, communicating clearly, and giving players every chance to improve. The idea of him throwing down the verbal equivalent of a permanent benching suggests he felt genuinely betrayed, disrespected, or undermined, and if that is the case, then even if the two shake hands in front of the cameras later, the fracture behind the scenes might run much deeper than any public gesture can fix. Within the locker room, some players are said to be shocked, while others apparently saw this boiling for a while. Teams always have those internal dynamics the public never fully understands. The tensions between starters and backups, the frustration of guys fighting for snaps, the pressure of fitting into a new system, the tug-of-war between veterans and younger players. When you mix strong personalities, high expectations, and non-stop competition, it is almost inevitable that sparks will fly. But the surprising part here is not the conflict itself, it is who ignited it. Very few people ever imagined Dan Quinn raising his voice to the point of declaring a player effectively done in front of the team. That is the kind of thing fans expect from fiery, old-school coaches who toss clipboards and scream at refs. Not from Quinn. What everyone should keep an eye on now is how the team responds. Moments like this can fracture a locker room or unite it. Sometimes players rally behind the coach, viewing the outburst as justified discipline. Other times they quietly side with the teammate, especially if they feel the punishment outweighs the incident. And then there is the third possibility, the one that front offices dread, where the conflict becomes a distraction. A constant whisper in the hallways, a constant headline on talk shows, slowly tugging at the fabric of team chemistry. And make no mistake, this story will not fade quickly. Fans are already speculating about who the player is, whether he will be traded, whether this signals deeper issues behind the scenes, and what Quinn's outburst says about the internal pressure he might be facing. Anytime a coach says something as final as "he does not play for me anymore," it becomes a turning point. Whether the team admits it or not, even if the situation calms down later, the comment will linger in the air like a storm cloud that refuses to blow away. What makes all of this even more intriguing is that nobody has stepped up publicly to deny it with full conviction. Usually when a rumor is completely off base, teams shut it down immediately with strong statements, confident language, and a united front. But here, lots of dancing around the question, lots of cautious wording, lots of phrases like internal matter and handling things in-house. That kind of language does not kill a rumor. It feeds it. It tells everyone that, yes, something happened, and no, the organization is not ready to talk about it in the end. This entire situation feels like the kind of behind-the-scenes moment that defines a season, long after it passes. Whether the Commanders emerge stronger or more fractured depends on what happens next, on whether bridges can be rebuilt or whether the damage is already done. But one thing is certain, the phrase "he does not play for me anymore" will hang over this team like a banner until someone steps forward and explains what really went down inside that room. And knowing how these things usually unfold, we might be hearing echoes of this rumor for a long time. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.